Spike is waiting for Twilight to put on her costume, and she's dressed as Star Swirl the Bearded, father of the amniomorphic spell. Wait, amniomorphic spell? I just got it. There's an ongoing joke where ponies keep confusing her costume for other things. It gets a laugh, I guess. Oh, and Spike's a dragon. Some trick-or-treaters come to the door, and here we meet Pipsqueak. This is his first nightmare night ever, because he's 1 year old. Oh, and Pinkie pops up. She's dressed as a chicken, and she's trick-or-treating. Twilight and Spike make it to the Nightmare Night Festival, and Spike has been gorging himself on candy. Pinkie has as well, and Rainbow Dash seems to be having a different kind of fun tonight. She's disguised as a Shadow Bolt and is bent on pranking everypony. She scares the kids off, and Twilight scolds her. Twilight and Spike talk to Applejack, who is dressed as a scarecrow. They overhear the mayor giving a speech, because that's all she's good at. Look, she even leaves the work of telling us about Nightmare Night to Sakura. Huh, Sakura. Haven't seen her in a while. The kids place down some candy, and Princess Luna appears from the sky with some strange Bat Ponies. And every pony thinks that she's Nightmare Moon due to Pinkie calling it out, and Pinkie throws the town into panic. Luna herself doesn't help. In the past year, she's gotten a lot bigger, and now she speaks in a loud, booming voice. Every pony seems to be afraid of her because of those reasons, and you know, the whole nighttime forever thing. The only pony who decides to talk to her is Twilight. She knows that the elements of harmony brought Nightmare Moon back to good, and so she knows that there's nothing to be afraid of. She can see that the problems are being caused by using far outdated etiquette. Twilight talks to Luna, but she's still using the booming voice thing, which we come to know as the Royal Canterlot voice. Twilight tells her that that's why every pony was running off. Well, that's one reason. Since Luna is having a bit of trouble adjusting herself, they go to Fluttershy, who does not like Nightmare Night at all. So Twilight gets her out, but Fluttershy isn't able to get over her fears to help, and so she tries to run back inside. Slapstick! And for some reason that teaches Luna to talk softer. This works perfectly, until Pinkie comes by and causes another uproar. Twilight convinces Luna to ignore them, and gets her to go to the Nightmare Night Festival. They run into Applejack, who seems to be afraid of Luna. Okay, I understand Pinkie freaking out because she's Pinkie, and other reasons we'll see later. And I get Fluttershy freaking out, but why Applejack? I mean, she usually has more common sense than Twilight. And then Applejack gets over her fear for pretty much no reason whatsoever. Applejack tells Luna that the best way to become liked is to have some fun. Luna plays a game where she tries to throw some spiders on a web, which is a scene so iconic that it inspired a Flash game called Luna vs. Fun. Next, Luna launches a pumpkin at a target. She actually seems to be fitting in quite nicely, until she sees Pip falling into the apple bobbing bucket. When she pulls him out, Pinkie claims that Nightmare Moon is gobbling Pipsqueak, and every pony freaks out. And Luna has an outburst that causes the villagers to back away in fear. She tosses a spider in hopes that it gets the fun going. When it doesn't, she makes them real spiders which attack the villagers. Jesus, that is freaky as all hell. I know it doesn't last long, but this moment is scarier than all of Lesson 0. It's at least freaky enough to get everyone into full-blown panic, and for good reason. Eventually she goes into full-blown shouting, getting every pony to stop. Now Luna's pissed. Because every pony has been afraid of her, she decides to cancel Nightmare Night forever, with glowing eyes and a stormy backdrop. And now the villagers are sad instead of running around like, I don't know, chickens with their heads cut off. Yes, I realize what metaphor I used. And Applejack brings up why.
We had everything going our way. Luna was happy, every pony in town was happy. Now look at them.
If there's an episode that Pinkie really gets on my nerves, it's this one. Every time Luna gets a little closer to happiness, Pinkie just happens to be there and resets everything to 0. It makes the whole episode really frustrating. And this is just a nitpick, but Pinkie looks really awkward in that costume. Something about the neck being a bit too long. Twilight isn't defeated yet, so she goes to find Luna, who is forlornly walking over a bridge. She tries to convince Luna that the ponies really aren't afraid of her, but she fails. So Twilight takes the next logical step and tracks down Pinkie Pie with candy. So Twilight ambushes Pinkie in an alleyway and tells her not to shriek or scream. No comment. Twilight shows Pinkie Luna, and she keeps her promise. Just barely. Then we have what I think is a homage to E.T., until Rainbow ruins it by doing her pranking, causing Pinkie to run off after laying an egg. The strangest thing about that scenario is that the egg is polka-dotted. Of course, this farce has gone on too long, so Twilight stops Pinkie by force. And then Twilight claims that Luna doesn't want to gobble Pinkie up.
Well, duh. So why do you keep running away and screaming? Sometimes it's just really fun to be scared.
Hey Pinkie, I got a question for you. At any point, do you think that it got old doing the same thing to the same pony to the point of outrage? Even when Rainbow was startling ponies, she did it to different ponies, because if she didn't, she'd seem like one of the biggest assholes in Ponyville. So every pony is bummed out, but Sakura convinces the pony to give up some of their candy to the Nightmare Moon statue. And Nightmare Moon appears and purposely scares the shit out of every pony. Pip comes back and tells Luna that he liked to be scared, so he wants her to come back next year. So Luna brings Nightmare Night back, and we learn that you should pass your friendships on to others. A really good moral that kinda makes up for some of the frustration. Rainbow tries to zap Twilight, but Luna gets her first, and Pinkie gets off scot-free. What are my feelings towards this episode? Mixed. I like the humor. and I really like the lesson, but there are just a bunch of things that bother me. Most notably is Pinkie Pie. I'm not going to argue whether being this juvenile was in or out of character for her, because you could really go either way, but it was just frustrating. I hate it when there's something easily preventable that just makes things go worse and worse. I mean, I'd feel better about the whole thing if she said sorry or something at the end, but she didn't. And then there's the point that he who must not be named brought it up. Why hasn't any pony been coaching Luna on how to behave in modern times? Were they just letting her act like this the whole time, going around shouting at ponies? It's as if she just became Luna again yesterday, and if that's the case, then every pony should recognize that she's Luna. Yes, sometimes it's fun to be scared, and sometimes there's just being an asshole. So, that leaves the question of what do I give this episode? I'm definitely not giving it a gold, but I will say this is an episode I like to go back to quite often. It's my favorite of the 3 holiday episodes. Look, I'll give it a silver for minor continuity hiccups and Pinkie Pie getting on my nerves. Just be careful the next method you use to prolong a problem, because I'm not going to be as lenient.